It is the second week of 2026 and the San Diego Police Department already has some big goals for the new year.
All right, joining us this morning, Police Chief Scott Wall. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Happy New Year. So much to talk about. Let's start with these recent ICE protests that are happening in our community, happened over the weekend here in San Diego. What is generally the response from the department?
Yeah, well, we look at each one of these protests individually. We try to understand all the sides that are out there involved in these very tough, polarizing topics. Our goal and responsibility is to make sure that First Amendment protections are upheld. We try to work closely, and we encourage organizers of these protests to work with our leadership staff that's out there so that we can help coordinate routes of travel and what the intent is with the protests as far as where they intend to voice their First Amendment rights, but we can block traffic, we can open up roadways, we can help make sure that it's a safe environment for everybody.
You may have answered a little bit of it, but how do you guys handle the protests when they become perhaps larger than expected, or when they are large already? What do you do? Because like you mentioned, passions are so high, everybody's so emotional about the topic, and when you have a bunch of people, any little thing can set anybody off. How do you handle and prepare for that?
Yeah. Well, again, understanding the issues of the moment is critically important, and then really the best strategy is to get to the event organizers who have influence on the crowd. Having police officers that have that gift of gab and able to talk to people to try to de-escalate, when tempers.
I was going to ask, is that part
flare?
of the training, like you mentioned, to understand what they're talking about, why they're protesting? Do you make it a point that all the officers, boots on the ground, understand exactly what these protests are about and what they're feeling?
Correct, and it's not just about looking at it from just your perspective as a police officer, needing the roadway cleared in certain situations, but understanding what's going on kind of behind the scenes with the crowd so that you can have that dialogue and encourage people to get into an area that's more safe. Certainly when things become unlawful and there's vandalism or violence, we intervene. But in large part, we have protests every single week. Typically, a lot of them are downtown. That just happens to be the center for attention, I guess, if you will. But we work collaboratively with these protest groups all the time. And I'm very proud to say that here we have a very good track record of it being safe.
Let's talk about another goal. Technology is a big goal for you in the new year, and we were running some stories last week in regards to this new center.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I'm very excited to have this Operations Center in place. I want to thank the San Diego Police Foundation and the donors that helped us raise the funds necessary. We were able to do it on a very tight budget. When we talk about the utilization of technology to help make San Diego safer, we are using a center, a team of officers and personnel to help responding police officers out in the field to be more precise. And one of the examples that we used was a carjacking case in Pacific Beach. When we got that vehicle information put into the system, 30 minutes later, that suspect was in custody. He was in custody because he was downtown and he passed through a license plate reader intersection. And we were able to direct officers to the area where that suspect was. Instead of saturating the beach area looking for him, which is what we typically would do, we went to exactly where that person was at. We stopped the car involved. And like I said, 30 minutes later, he was in custody.
So it seems like a lot of this is more communication and the timing of it, the speed with which you guys can respond. In other words, it's just more efficient, right?
Absolutely.
In terms of, instead of walking around looking, how much time are you talking about saving here in terms of, you said half an hour for something that would have taken what?
Yeah, I feel like you're my spokesperson. You said that perfectly. That is one of my top 3 priorities, is efficiency.
Right.
We have very limited resources. I want to make sure that we're using them to the maximum power, the maximum ability, being precise with our efforts. Instead of saturating the area and stopping every white four-door sedan, if that's the description, we're stopping the white four-door sedan. We're being precise with our efforts. It's efficiency, it's effectiveness. I'm very pleased to have this Operations Center in place.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at it. It looks very, very high tech. Is that what you're most impressed with? Is there anything else in that center? Look at all this, and all the computers and monitors and.
Yeah. Well, it's like Raul said. We're coordinating from that location where you have a team of officers. I mean, I'm a little bit jealous, to be honest with you. When I was
going to say, what has this been in policing, and how many other cities have it? It seems pretty technologically advanced for shocking that we haven't had this before.
Correct. It is very difficult to get things like this in place. That's why I'm so prideful about it. I'm very thankful to the team of officers and command staff that helped put this together, partnering with private money. It took a lot of private money to come in to help make this a reality. We're doing things, getting things done, despite the staffing and budget shortfalls that we do have.
Okay, talking about staffing, a large number of retirements in the last few years. So training for new officers, I have to imagine, is going to be super important.
Well, absolutely. So this year, today, as a matter of fact, we're 80 officers fewer than we were at this time last year.
Oh.
80 fewer. We knew this was coming. We have about a 2-year period where we're going to lose more than we're going to be able to hire. The good news is we're about 50% higher recruiting numbers from the last 2 years. And so if we sustain that, by summertime, we'll begin to grow the numbers in this organization. We're about 11% vacancy rate currently. Training is something that is always on the forefront of being cut. I refuse to cut training. I haven't cut a penny since day one, but we need to grow our training. We've been bringing in private equity money to do that. Leadership development and tactical training, as you see a lot of times in these videos on social media where we're not getting things right, almost every time, training is at the forefront of that.
Police Chief Scott Wall, we thank you as always for the time.